Dallas Cowboys fans, you got Dak Prescott for another 4 years. Oh man, I hope you guys are excited. He signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with the Dallas Cowboys, which includes an NFL record $126 million guaranteed. That's a lot of cash, guys. It's a lot of money we're looking at here. And if you thought that wasn't enough, let me give you some more about this contract. He has a $66 million signing bonus, which is the highest in the NFL history. Um, which is $1 million more than Russell Wilson's bonus signing bonus, which is 65 million. And he has a record $75 million due in 1 year. That is insane, especially given Patrick Mahomes last season signed that 10-year, $503 million extension last year with the Chiefs, which gave him 50 million a year. So it just like every single year we just keep getting bigger and bigger contracts. It's just absolutely insane. And to top that all off, the first 3 years he's going to be averaging $42 million a year. So Dak Prescott got his wish by saying he wants 40 million a year. Um, this was reported by Adam Schefter and written by Todd Archer, who is an ESPN staff writer. So Mario, I'll go first because Dak Prescott's one of my favorite players in the NFL, and I've praised this man on the show a lot lately. So with that being said, congratulations to my homeboy Dak Prescott out there. Um, Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys, and I wish them both the best of luck moving forward. Um, I will say, I think that's a little bit too much money to be throwing at a player who just got injured. Now, if he did not get injured, that's a completely different story. I say he's worth every single. I mean, I still think he is if he can get over that injury. But right now, the question still needs to be answered. Is Dak Prescott going to be over that injury? Because that injury was very gruesome, and if you guys um want to see what really he did. Like he like his ankle kind of like went out of place and was just completely bent. If you want to see that, I'll put a link to the video in the description down below. But if not, then it's very graphic. So if you're not even into that kind of stuff, I won't even recommend you watch that video. But for those of you who are into that stuff, it'll be there for you weirdos. But anyway, um, yeah, I mean, it's tough because he's coming off an injury. Now, if this was before the injury, then fine. None of us would have known that he signed that contract and then he got injured after that. We wouldn't have known that that's what was going to happen. But I don't know, man. Like it can go both ways. Obviously, coach. One, Dak can go back to form, which I'm leaning towards. That's what's probably going to happen, or at least I hope that's what's going to happen. I'll say that. Obviously, he's got to get over that hump with the injury and then lead the Dallas Cowboys to hopefully the Super Bowl. And the other way, of course, is he doesn't get over the injury and he just turns into a flop. And then eventually he's going to be dropped by the Cowboys. So, I mean, I mean, as of right now, I hope Dak Prescott goes back to form like he was last year because when the season started last year, he was on top of the NFL. If he didn't get injured, he was winning that MVP. It was as simple as that. This dude was on pace for 6,000 passing yards in the season. I don't even think a quarterback's done that before, as far to my current knowledge. And I think by the time he was injured, he already had like what was it like 3,000 passing yards, like 12, 14 touchdowns, and all that. Like this dude's going off because this dude wanted to get paid, and we all said it. In order for Dak Prescott to get that money, you gotta play like you're worth $40 million a year. Now you got $40 million a year. You gotta prove to us that you're still worth that kind of money. And it's gonna be obviously, of course, like I said, it's gonna be a little bit difficult because he's coming off of an injury, but with that being said, I hope Dak Prescott lives up to the hype. I hope Dak Prescott plays like he's a $40 million quarterback. And I just wish your homeboy nothing but the best of luck. So with that being said, I'll just give it to you now, Mario.
Yeah, well, I'll start from there. First of all, best of luck to Dak Prescott, obviously, and congratulations on the huge extension. I absolutely think like talent wise, he's definitely deserving of that money, and I feel like that's exactly what the Cowboys were going to need to give him in order for him to stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You heard all the news. Dak Prescott wanted $40 million a year. He absolutely got that with this contract, exactly $40 million a year, to be exact. And then obviously the guarantee that you said, what was it, 126 or 28?
126 mil guaranteed.
$126 million guaranteed, which is honestly insane. Um, and then I read like some other article and it said he's making almost he they said he's gonna be making a little bit over $600 per second he
Yeah,
plays in the NFL, which is absolutely ridiculous, which is absolutely more than my next paycheck. So hey, You know what? Nah, but in all serious, congratulations to Dak Prescott. I'm gonna be honest with you. When this came out, Nate, I was shocked because I was expecting Dak Prescott to lead the Cowboys. That's
Yeah.
why I was expecting him to lead the Cowboys. I did not think Jerry Jones was gonna pay that man. I didn't think it was gonna happen.
About
After
damn
recent
time he
memory,
did.
I didn't think he was gonna pay that man. And honestly, you look at like the past 2 or 3 years that Dak Prescott has received a franchise tag. And to be honest with you, Nate, you look at it and you look at how much of like a waste it was. You could have just paid him now. You knew how
Yeah,
good. Now,
exactly.
honestly, you need a couple of times. If you gave him 1 year as a franchise tag, fine. You gave him two, like, like after the 1 year franchise tag, I think that's when you should have knew like this is our quarterback right here, you know.
Hmm.
And I don't think you were going to find one better than Dak. Obviously, if they would have got rid of Dak, they would have probably had to go into the NFL draft and get a QB, which I don't think is something Jerry Jones would want to do. You know, is find another new quarterback. He probably wants to use oh, I don't even know what pick he has in the draft, but he probably wants to use that early first round pick in the draft to get somebody that could help Dak Prescott become an even better quarterback than what he already is. You know, opposed to getting, opposed to getting another quarterback in this draft, you know, that you got to develop and go through the same thing 4 years later.
Hmm.
You can just get a good talent to surround Dak with and end
Not
up
to
doing good
mention,
things. That's what they did with CeeDee Lamb and it was working. That's what they did with Amari Cooper and it was working. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to getting guys, the Dallas Cowboys know what they're doing. When it comes
especially
to
not
putting the pieces together and the coaching around them to make these players better, it's just not there.
not to
Yeah.
mention, they like you said, they got CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup is actually a very underrated wide receiver. Then you got Ezekiel Elliott.
Really?
Hopefully, he has a comeback season. So Dak Prescott got everything you need for a quarterback, and he's got a good defense behind him. Now when I look at it, it has to come down to Mike McCarthy and his coaching staff. They need to get this team to the playoffs. This team has too high of expectations for you to not miss for you to miss the playoffs again. It's just as simple as that. And obviously, of course, not just the coaching, but the players need to step up as well. It's not just going to go on the coaching.
Right. And right, absolutely. But coaching, I think, is the number one problem now with the Dallas Cowboys. You got
Absolutely.
Dak his extension. You know, Ezekiel Elliott had that extension, I think, a couple of years ago. That was pretty good. You know, you got everything that you need from the players. You know, now it's all up to the coaches. You have a defense that could definitely be top five with what you surround it with. You just got to put the pieces together, and the coaching's got to be good enough to help them. You understand what I'm saying? And last year it
Right.
wasn't that. But I mean, you know, and now obviously we're gonna go to the last thing, his injury. I completely agree with you. That's the one concern I have with Dak Prescott. When I heard about this contract, that's the first thing I thought about. I was like, he's worth. Well, second thing, excuse me. The first thing was like he's definitely worth this money, and then the second thing was is he going to recover from this injury? You know, because it was a very devastating injury, and I hope he does. I hope he's 100% better than ever. And to answer your question, the record for most passing yards in a season is held by Peyton Manning. He had 5,477 yards. So Dak Prescott, if he was on pace to break that record, he would have definitely broke it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, big things are happening for Dak Prescott. You know, you've been through the lowest of the lows in that injury. Now it's up for you to bounce. Now it's time for you to bounce back and show everybody why you're worth that money. It's one thing to get the money. It's another thing to be worth that money. You know, and
Right.
when you're
Right.
worth that money, that people talk about you as an elite quarterback. When you're not worth that money, you're in that conversation as being overpaid. Then you're gonna start being talked about as like another Kirk Cousins, as another Carson Wentz, as another Jared Goff. And I'm not saying that they're not worth that money, but that's what a lot of people when you look at like news and everything, and you look at like comments on Instagram and YouTube, that's the first thing you see is they're overpaid. Now it's up to Dak Prescott to not only prove that he's worth that money, but to prove that he can be the leader of this team and he can take the Dallas Cowboys to places that they haven't been in a long time. So with that being said, I wish the Dallas Cowboys the best of luck and I wish Dak Prescott the best of luck.